This is Tom's World Beer Tour, a podcast story featuring Tom Bowman and Tom Bradley. Now, crack one open and let the tour begin.
Welcome to it. I'm starting to lose count of the episodes, and I'm trying to figure out how important is it that we name the number of the episode. Like, are people like, I don't know, is this 20 or 13? I'm so distraught by it.
This is technically episode 17.
When do we stop counting? Like when you have a child. You have a child.
I don't know if you ever do.
You'd call a child. You say they're so many weeks old.
No, months.
No. It starts with weeks.
It starts with weeks?
Yes.
Oh,
I got to take you back to this. It starts with weeks, and then you get to the point where like 12 weeks is like, you do know that 12 weeks is like 3 months. I'm like, okay, fine. Then they keep going with months past a year. And they're like, they're 13 and a half months. You're like, they're a 1-year-old. But they keep doing it. And eventually you're like, I think 18 months is when you no longer share that. They're 1.5 until they get to be 2. Or they'll be 2 in September.
Right. So here's what I will tell you. Most of the podcasts that I listen to are numbered.
Yeah.
Number 435. And then there's a title of some sort. We've gotten into a groove, 17 episodes in now, where it's TWBT, because Tom's World Beer Tour takes a long time to type for me. So TWBT, episode, whatever, and then a funky little title like The Barbecue Show, or I Buy from G Fry, which was last week, or 63 Jump Street, which was what we did for Pecoraro.
You did not. Most of these came after. They were grown organically, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the name for today's podcast will come later. But eventually, we're not going to go on like we are right now and be like, this is episode number 17,
No.
Mom.
We just start. I mean, the whole thing's organic. I mean, even today, we were a little looser. We brought the cover screen that has the title screen, if you will. We brought that down early so that people could see that we talked before we actually start.
We're going to get on with our guest today, and we're going to talk about this audio-video thing that's going on.
Right.
And he's in a world of television, so for him, it's like, audio and video, it's been living together in peace and harmony for a long time.
Here's the beauty. First of all, you know where to catch this, right? Every Thursday as a podcast, iHeart, Spotify, Stitcher, all those great places, Apple, because that's where most people download podcasts these days, Apple. So download it as a podcast every Thursday, and not only download it, but subscribe so that you don't have to miss one. If you hit subscribe, it'll always be there every Thursday morning. It releases at 3 a.m. Central Time, blah, 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 blah. But for those of you that watch it on Facebook, which a lot of people do, I apologize in advance that you're going to think, well, why have I been looking at these two morons? Because we're bringing on a TV guy.
Right.
So TV meaning camera, meaning moneymaker.
Is he like more talented than us? Is like, do you
want my real take on TV guys versus radio guys?
I really want to understand. If you have this level of talent, you're in radio, but if you got this much, you go to TV.
Here's what I will tell you. There are a lot of really talented TV people. Most really talented TV people I know started out in radio because they have appreciation for prep and all these things that you do. If you go from TV to radio, which happened to me at Fox.
Yeah.
Remember we started that whole Fox Sports radio thing? And the shows I was producing in L.A. were Fox Sports talent. Super talented guys. They would show up for the show at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and go, all right, guys, what are we talking about?
And
what do you mean, what are we talking about? What do you want to talk about? You're the host of the show. Where was the email earlier in the day? Hey, didn't you see all the stuff we sent you to say, hey, man, what direction? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you and I don't prep at all.
For this show.
You
prep for your normal show.
Oh, I prep a little bit.
And in my normal day job, there's a shit ton of prep.
Let me say this about our guest, and we'll get to him in a few minutes.
Which is great because I can see him in preview.
Yeah, he's making faces.
He's just smiling. He's got a TV smile. He's smooth.
He might have all those things, but the dude has a mind and a voice for radio, and he has a love.
Wait.
He has a love of radio. So we'll get to him in a second.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about beer and this podcast a little bit. First of all, our tailgate beers. I went for a snapper. It was handy. I was like, whoosh. So that's what I got.
Can't go wrong with a snapper. It's local. For us,
yes.
It's spreading out across the country. Snapper, Logboat Brewing here in Columbia, Missouri. Cousins that started it.
Yes.
Cousins.
Yeah.
They might be brothers and cousins. I'm not sure. I've met those guys.
They're like brothers in beer and weed. They're like that's what they and sometimes some psychedelics, and we won't talk about that.
So, anyways, and hopefully wherever you're listening, eventually this will get to you if it's not there already.
It
This
really
is
is a
the
tremendous
go-to
beer.
IPA. It's
In
phenomenal.
our area. Now, this one is an interesting story, and we'll talk about this in a
Oh,
couple
I
of
like
weeks
this.
when we broadcast from Burr Oak Brewing.
Right.
We already have that on the calendar coming up.
Mhm.
This is an accidental beer, and they wound up making a fantastic beer. They were trying to make Old 63, and they wound up making something more powerful. It was an accident.
Isn't that how Spider-Man got his powers?
Yep. It's a great story, and they'll share it on
God,
that
I love Old
podcast.
63. You know what I tell people
But
about
that high octane
Yeah.
is a better beer than Old 63.
regular Old 63 is craft beer, but heavy.
Yes.
That's
Well,
what it
that's
is.
about it
That's
right
what
there.
it is. And it's a great beer. It was also my favorite hat, which has now become my barbecue hat because it smells like the smoker.
Uh-huh.
I need another one. The hat looks it's a black hat with that old 63 logo. I need another one.
Yeah.
So if we're going to Burr Oak, they better be ready.
I might have one I can.
So
I
this
can loan
this
to
is
you.
a phenomenal one, and high octane. It's great. And
I think it's around 8%.
so as you always remind people, the show's not necessarily about beer.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not.
And here's the thing. Last week is a perfect example. If you got to hear us talking to Gail and Fry, we got into things we never planned on getting into. And here's a guy that's black with two guys that are white talking about race tensions, racial issues. We had a phenomenal discussion. And what is with you and me? Why is everyone so forthcoming when they sit down with us? Remember Danny Spry, the firefighter?
Yeah.
He unloaded
Yeah.
on us some of his experiences, and I was like, wow. And then he goes, I've been holding this stuff in for years. It's caused me problems. I need to talk about it. I'm like, well, then let's be your therapy right here. I am amazed at what people have shared with us on this show.
Well, it's a good forum for it because unlike your normal radio show, we have to be careful what we say, and we have to put it in the right context, and we have to say it in a way that doesn't offend people sometimes.
Sometimes. And there's also the formatics of the station call letters, the timing, the breaks,
all
the
that
commercial
bullshit.
endorsements,
And
or
this
whatever
one
it
is
might be.
different. The beauty of audio on demand, which is really what a podcast is. We only call it a podcast because of Apple.
Yeah.
They needed some sort of audio to go on their iPod, so they call it a podcast. Audio on demand is great because you get all this open fluidity to talk and not work. I mean, we go about an hour and 10 naturally.
It's a
you and I.
natural thing, and I don't want to go to an hour and 10 by pushing it and trying
No.
to get there. I don't, and it's really hard for me to understand what people are going through while they're listening to it right now because
Right.
I don't know if you're like, I've talked about this before. I want to drop that. I don't want to talk about it.
Let's not talk
We'll
about that.
we'll get into it.
I do
But-
have one quick suggestion, though.
Yes.
So you know our little the show logo, right? For those of you that are watching, that's it right there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for those of you that are listening, you've seen it before. White background, blue microphone, cartoon. Tom's Real Beer Tour, a podcast story.
Mhm.
I think somewhere in here we should put in what we've been saying a lot, which is this isn't a show about beer, but beer is the liquid that leads to conversation.
Yes.
I think it needs to be in there somewhere. I was thinking about this the other day. A podcast story is great, but maybe it's, beer is the liquid that leads to conversation.
I think if you want to put something, look,
Well, you're the artist. I
Or-
didn't do that part. I'm
or-
in charge of audio
but
and
organic
cameras.
is great. When I put that together, a podcast story was only holding the line. It was just a
I know.
temporary
You said it to
fill.
me, and we left
And I
it.
said a podcast story, and you're like, I like that. I go, you do? You're like, yeah, a podcast story. And I'm like, that's that's kind of funny.
But I
It's
like
all
that
in there.
we've 17 episodes in. We've done a pretty good job of explaining to people, not all the time, but people that hey, is a show about beer? Sometimes. Parts
Sometimes
of it.
it is.
But
right.
at the end of the day, you and I, before we ever started this particular podcast,
Mhm.
we would, on a pretty regular basis, be at a local dining establishment or a bar, some of our favorite places.
Mhm.
And typically, as boys and girls do when they go out, the girls go to this side and chat, and the boys go to this side and chat. And we would have these very cool, sometimes intense conversations over beer.
Right.
And sometimes over bourbon, but that's just another B word. So that's really what this is. This is just two dudes enjoying liquid libations, having a conversation.
Let me tell you that I'm having trouble finding
Our conversational beer music,
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
my job, wasn't it?
it's always been your job. It's always been your job.
Well, if I open this up,
I
and
mean, I
I'll-
could make it my job in the future, and I could put it into this player.
I
but
don't.
you know,
I'm not trying to say that has to happen.
It just means that 1-0 moves from your side of the paycheck to my side of the paycheck. And it's in the front, so
But-
it doesn't matter.
But there is this problem. You're supposed to be practicing your trombone. Have you practiced over
No.
the last 7 days?
No, why would I lie to you? No, I have not. In fact, This morning, it was still sitting right there by the couch behind me,
Yes.
and I moved it into the guest room because I had people coming over, and I didn't want anyone to ask the question of, why do you have a machine gun case on the floor of your man cave?
I completely understand that. I can't find out. I don't think I have any idea where it is.
You want to bring in our guest and then talk about the conversational beer?
Yeah,
since
unless
he picked
wait a second. Wait a second.
Did you find it?
Wait, I think
Oh.
I think I may have found it. Let me see.
You know the best part is you can't see Kevin. I can see Kevin, and Kevin's just like, did I commit? What did I commit to?
I know.
Why am I
know
doing
he
this?
is.
I left Columbia for a reason. Don't bring me back, even if it's this way.
Well, this is a temporary bed because you've got to bring the trombone in, and we're going to reproduce the entire thing. Here we go. There you go. Now, what does that make you think of? It makes me think of friends who are gathering together with a beer and just talking about things, whatever comes up.
It makes me think that I need to yell at Katie to change the playlist that she's using behind the bar.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to welcome to the stage here at Tom's World Beer Tour.
Oh my God, is that your strip club voice?
Yes, it is.
All righty, boys, coming to the main stage all the way from Tampa.
Yeah, but some of us have experienced that from behind the microphone, and some of us have not. I'm just mimicking
let's just
what
say
the
that
pros like you actually did.
In that job, better for me to be on that side of the mic than on the other side of the mic, which would be the stage.
Let's bring him on. Kevin Lewis down in Tampa, Florida.
There he is. Look, TV.
Yeah,
look at that.
TV immediately.
Oh.
He's got the beer. He's got the beer going, and so that's very good.
So I have to tell real quick. Wait.
What's the T-shirt? Jump
up. Let's see.
This was purchased before the regular season began, from a local vendor.
Wow.
It's a new day in Tampa. Tom instead of Buccaneer Bob.
Yeah.
So yeah, the mania
nice.
swing way before. So
I like it. I like it. So
couple bucks.
I want to bring this up now because this may determine what direction Kevin goes in our conversation.
Okay.
So my counterpart at Learfield IMG College is a guy named Adam Witten.
Uh-huh.
And he runs the operational side in Winston-Salem, and I run the operational side here. And he grew up in Tampa Bay, and he's a Tampa Bay Rays fan. Of course, I see right behind Kevin, there's the Rays. And so for the World Series, of course, we had a bet because prior to me coming here to Missouri, I lived in Los Angeles, and we all kind of know this. I ran the radio network for the Dodgers.
Right.
And I'm a Dodger fan through and through.
Yeah.
Once again, there's my allegiance. We don't mess around.
I mean, he took it serious, right?
That's next level. I mean,
Kevin,
two words, my friend.
Just judged
Vin
you.
Scully. Vin Scully. Which, by the way, I posted a picture the other day. I have to show this to you.
Is that the only tattoo you have about it, or did you put something on your ass with Vin Scully? I mean, the way you just said that right now.
No. I'm Vin Scully's boy.
But did you see Kevin judge you when he saw the tattoo?
No, I wasn't judged. I was surprised.
I think it was admiration.
I'm going to do it verbally.
Yeah, it was admiration. So I showed this picture on Facebook this week. You might be cool, but you'll never be Vin Scully with his latest World Series ring cool. Look at that.
That may be true.
That's crazy. So anyways, so Adam and I, long story short, we had a bet on the World Series. He had the Rays, I had the Dodgers. We won, and he had to buy me a Dodgers World Champions bourbon glass.
Ooh.
And not only that, but before he sent it to me, he had to pour bourbon into said glass and take a picture with the glass.
Really?
So my apologies to everybody in Tampa Bay, but I got a nice glass out of it.
No, to the winner goes the bourbon. The winner goes the whatever you. I mean, and drinking out of the glass.
The spoils all the way through.
Right.
How is Tampa, brother? We have, by the way, a beautiful evening. So we're out in the screened deck area here at Bowman's Estate. How is Tampa? How are you feeling? What's going on in the weather, the life, the COVID? What's happening there?
The weather's good. It's 80s today, sunny. Surprisingly. Night get down upper 60s. I did go through the coldest daytime temperature in the history of Tampa this year, and it got down to a frigid 38 degrees. So that was
for Tampa. People are freaking out.
Yeah, I mean, it was in the 50s. I'm walking down the hallway with like a blanket on to turn the heat up.
But wait a minute.
At night.
You haven't lived in Tampa forever. You moved to Tampa. Where were you prior?
Madison, Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Oh God.
So 50 was cold. Like what? In like less than a year, your blood thinned out.
That's exactly right. I moved when I left Columbia. I moved to Arizona for almost 2 years, and I didn't know the blood thinning thing was a thing until the first Friday night football game we did live, and it was 68 degrees in October, and my teeth were chattering like in the break before, and the photographer's like, chill out, man. I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, your blood's thing. And everyone else has got like tank tops and shorts on, and I have like a jacket and like 3 t-shirts. So yeah, no, when it gets December, January, if it gets cold and rainy, I wuss out completely, and I get cold. But the weather's good, sunshine's good, things are starting to open up a little more, thank goodness, with
But it's
indoor,
Florida,
outdoor.
so isn't the whole place just opening up on its own?
County to county, it depends. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of like a lot of places. Depends on where. I mean, I don't think you can close the beach technically, but
Right.
people still, you walk and ride bikes. and
But
do
I'm not trying
whatever.
to
Still happens, yeah.
stereotype the Florida people. You're there now and you're
go ahead.
representing the Florida people, but let's be honest. Maybe not where you are, because Tampa's parts of Tampa. There's parts of Tampa they don't call Tampa. That's really, really nice. Let's be honest. When I would go to spring training in the Grapefruit League and we would go, to that side over to Tampa, we weren't staying in Tampa. We were staying on that little resort side over there.
Uh-huh.
But you're not living in a state where people are exactly following rules.
No, the hashtag Florida man is it's a thing. It really is. That's it is. It's sometimes it seems like the Wild West again, depending on county. But to say that everyone, and it doesn't. I don't want to be critical. I want people to have fun. I want people to celebrate all the time. But when you have multiple championship parades or like during games when it's the NHL, the Stanley Cup Final, and then the Super Bowl, and then the World Series, like back to back to back, it's hard to tell people they can't either celebrate or congregate and watch. And they did a good job. I mean, they tried to limit during NFL, the regular season, limited seats, the limited seats during the Super Bowl, the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Stanley Cup Final. They had outdoor viewing parties and whatever. But the night they won the cup, I mean, it was a madhouse.
Dude, you're never going to stop those people from getting in their mini trucks and Camaros.
No,
they got to get out, man.
Wait.
Now,
Mini trucks? What's
Tampa's the home of mini trucks and Camaros, like
What do you-
90s Camaros.
What is a mini truck?
You don't know what a mini truck
Just
is?
the
It's like
smaller-
a pickup truck that's slammed to the ground.
Oh, it's slammed to the ground.
Yeah. Did you not have mini trucks here in Missouri?
I don't. I've never had any
Only
mini
in
truck.
only in California
I
where I
don't
was.
know.
In Florida, they had mini trucks.
So in Florida, they're like it has to be slammed to the ground. Then it's called
Kevin,
a
am I
mini truck.
wrong? It's Camaros and mini trucks, man.
A lot of the model itself, mini trucks, Camaros. There's a lot of Charger, Mustang.
New
like people
new blood.
reliving. I think they've watched the Fast and Furious franchise more than I have, if that's possible.
Yeah.
And it's I'll go from it's like in like a neon green something or other, and live your best life if do it safely.
It's a state full of bros.
The Camaros take a backseat to Arrowhead Stadium tailgates. I will say that. Because those are some of the best that I walk through.
Yeah.
A little shout out to KC then on that.
Yeah.
A lot of sport bikes in the Tampa area, right? And we're Harley riders.
But there's sport bikes where they've extended.
That happens too.
They extend the back end out, So, it's.
Oh, if you're a Harley rider, you come down here, man. I got a place for you to stay. We'll play some mediocre golf, and you bring the Harleys out, and you will be.
Oh, he knows us so
you'll be
well.
among
Yeah,
friends.
he does.
He does so well.
He does. Tell us about your position right now, so we let everybody know exactly what you're doing with your life. For God's sakes.
I just sit here and drink beer.
Good.
I do the ABC affiliate in Tampa, WFTS. I started here February of 2020, so a great time to move.
Perfect.
Ooh.
Yeah, really good. And they take a little less traditional, which is becoming more normal approach. There is no 6 o'clock sports cast. Like you have the news, like the A block, and then you have more news, and then weather, and then usually it's a commercial break, and then like sports with Kevin Lewis. We don't have that. During the day, we're on from 3 with newscasts from 3 to 6:30 with various kind of broken up newscasts. So whatever the story is, like the Valspar Championship PGA tournaments this week, and the NFL draft is tomorrow. So if Kyle Berger, who I work with, and myself are the sports department, if we just do stories or interviews or something featurey, not quite nuts and bolts with them or the Lightning, the producers pick where that goes. It could be at 4:45. It could be at 5:15. It could be at the normal 6:25 spot. They just want to see what not having like the normal, traditional sportscast.
That's crazy.
That's
Now, are
really-
you back at 11 then for a traditional?
At 11, it's the same thing. Sometimes, I mean, if it's a night side event like the Lightning clinched the playoff spot last night, so I'll write up something at the very least for the 11. And playoff time, and more meaningful games. The 11 kind of gets a little more of the sugar. Right. But Saturday and Sunday, we have 2 traditional sportscasts at 6 and 11, just because there's so much going on with, stuff in Tampa, across the state, maybe a nugget of national stuff because there's so many people from around everywhere here. So they're trying that. It's different. I don't think one's better than the other necessarily yet. So
what are you hearing? What do you feel gut instinct on the streets? Are you hearing anything from people? I mean, obviously the older crowd is going to be like, I need my sports at 5:23.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, when I first talked about, what kind of the format was, it's not as radical of a change with 2 of us in the department. And if there's breaking news or, Tom Brady retires, I mean, that'll be in a traditional sports.
Oh, you'll be retired.
By the way, you heard it. You heard it at the Tom's World Beer Tour podcast first.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll see what I can do to get Tom on here.
Yes,
I can't make promises.
Thank you.
But no, I'll put in a call. No, for sure.
Oh, that's all right. I've been promising Dave Grohl since we started this show, so don't worry about it. We'll probably get Brady before I get Grohl.
That
so
may
don't
happen.
worry about
that
it.
may happen.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
All right, so let me ask you this then. So you education in Columbia, yes?
Columbia Hickman High School, KEWP Radio, where I got my start.
Right. You did?
Yeah. Randy Wright started that program at Hickman. And Cube Radio for sure.
You don't have any of that ugly baby stuff still, do you? The Cupies? It's the worst mascot I've ever seen.
So. It's the best mascot. Are you kidding me?
I think in my parents' basement/storage, there's some locked away. A couple sweatshirts, a couple of.
By the way, you didn't know this, but your parents are here. Come on in. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Mom, Dad. Yeah, guess what? Yeah, no, great. And then we did a little TV stuff before I graduated high school. So. And then I worked a summer at, where was I? 106.9 when it was still all in Jeff City. I did an overnight for like a summer.
Yeah.
And you were what, 18 doing that?
I was, yeah.
Oh, I'm with there with you, dude. My first radio job was overnights.
Wow,
yeah.
That's
live overnights. Nothing better.
Oh, yeah. Okay, say so. Then. Marquette University, undefeated in football since 1960.
Right.
Because there's no team. It's a joke.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
That's great.
LOL. And then, stayed in TV and did some radio stuff. I mean, there's so many partnerships. I mean, when I interned and whatever. So primarily television. And I did stuff with Tom when I was at KMIZ. A couple times you let me come in and intrude and read some sports.
Well, and the thing is, man, you have a real feel for the audio, for the radio, for the gift of talking and dragging someone kicking and screaming through a story, whether they like it or not. You do. You have that gift.
I force them to listen.
Yeah, man. Whatever it takes.
Thanks. No, Tom. Yeah, Tom. I catch the show on Facebook. Just if I open the Facebook app or whatever, I like the link. So yeah, I catch a little bit of you and Aaron Fox and whoever else we have fooling around in the morning sometimes. So it's good to hear that every once in a while.
So tell me about if you think this is worth asking.
Can I interrupt?
Oh yes, you can.
Can I'm seeing Kevin's enjoying his conversational beer.
Yeah.
No offense to Burr Oak, but
No, but we need a conversational beer.
Can I have the conversational beer?
Let's do that because it is Tom's World Beer Tour after all. You poured yours out in a glass, dude. I didn't know you were going to do that.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're
good.
You're welcome to. I do that all the time, especially if it's something I haven't had in a while. This is a Maduro Brown Ale from Cigar City Brewing out of what? Out of where? Kevin?
Tampa, Florida. Born in Tampa, Florida.
This is our second offering from Cigar City.
Whew.
When I was in Orlando for that god-awful trip that I had to go take, we had the Highlight IPA from Cigar City, and another fine choice. If you haven't had it yet, Kevin, you should try it. But Maduro Brown Ale. So we're big fans of brown ales.
We are, and I like Cigar City Brewing. Is this your go-to, Kevin, at Cigar City, is the brown ale, the Maduro?
It is. They also make it's called a high-low. The Highlight, they just came out with a high-low, which is like just a lower alcohol content. It's like the same. It's kind of like a Highlight Light.
Interesting.
That's a good brown.
You liking that?
And that's good. I like this. They have a couple other kinds. I'm not a huge dark beer brown ale guy normally, but this I don't think this is like as heavy as some other ones. Like I don't, I'm not going to polish this in volume, but I drink it a little cooler than room temperature. I don't like it ice cold. But no, I like, we did a story with the guys over there before the NFC Championship game, and kind of did like a beer versus beer story with Tampa and Green Bay.
Nice.
Because Wisconsin, they love their beer up there. So
yeah, they do.
Nice to hear somebody that says that they don't go for it ice cold. This is ice cold.
No, this is.
And I didn't
really
mean
cold.
for it to be that way, but I generally like a brown, an ale. I like it to hover around the upper 40s. That's where I'm really happy with it.
It's kind of highfalutin beer too, because I get a lot of crap because in the bourbon world, we talk about flavors of vanilla and leather and all that, and people are like, "You're full of shit." The side of this, listen to the side of this can. Named after a dark cigar wrapper, Maduro Brown Ale boosts notes of semi-sweet chocolate, toffee, hints of fresh coffee.
Wow.
This is a douche beer.
Wait a second. It's what Kevin picked out.
I'm not saying Kevin's a douche. I'm saying this is a douchey beer.
It's malt forward, whatever that means. Malt forward.
Yeah, whatever the hell that means.
Flaked oats, depth of character. Any description that
That's right.
has depth of character at the end, I wouldn't go against an outsider calling it a douche beer.
I think the three of us have depth of character.
I will
and
tell
I'm
you
just
that
telling you right now that as I enjoy this beer, because there's probably part of me that's kind of douchey, I love the fact that it's not just the bourbon world that's trying to pull this bullshit
Sure,
off.
absolutely. The next resume I fill out is going to include depth of character. I'm putting that on there.
It says
Damn
drink fresh,
right.
do not age. In case if you like age it like bourbon, you don't want to age this.
No. But nice call, and it's very good to have this conversational beer with you as we talk about this
thank
stuff.
you. Yeah.
So there's something really weird that happened in Tampa involving you and Tampa Bay. You got to Tampa and everything followed. Would you please share with us these details?
It is. When I write the book one day, I will give all the gory details. No, I mean, the job here, like nobody knew. I was like, okay, they got stuff going on. The Buccaneers at the time, pre-Brady, they hadn't made the playoffs in 12 years or whatever, and it was kind of like, all right, Jameis Winston's the quarterback. We got here, and the NHL regular season was going on, and the Lightning are good, but how good can they be? And spring training was just about to start. And, we were all, we had a big calendar in the sports office, like, all these things going on, all of this stuff. And it was the Wednesday or Thursday. I remember I was getting takeout from a place like 5 minutes from where I live on the way home, because I was still, of course, unpacking bags and whatever. And I was paying, and a guy next to me is like, well, there goes the basketball season. And I was like, what? And I look up, and on the TVs, it was NBA suspends season, and I was like, whoa, what? So we're like, okay, no one knew what was going to happen. But then a couple weeks later, old Tom decided that Kevin made the right move, and if we just wait this thing out, we'll have a season. So Tom, I think it was March 28th, it was official. There were leaks before. Adam Schefter, of course, was all over it 2 days before. And Tampa immediately became like this just crucible, this thing of just, what if they go to the Super Bowl now automatically because it's already being played here? And what if they win?
Wow.
Because Tom Brady's the best. They're like, okay, whatever. So, Tom held everyone over through the Lightning, after the pause, making the playoffs. And we're like, oh man, like the Lightning are really good too. And then baseball season, like, God, the Rays are really good. And everything, just all these things started happening. And, Rob Gronkowski signs with the Buccaneers, LaShawn McCoy, Antonio Brown. They all want to come down and party with K-Lou, in West Florida. So, it was just so bizarre, and everything aligned just like perfectly from my perspective. In a time where there were no sports really going on, there was enough going on here every day there was, something new, something non-nuts and boltsy to report. And, they would high tide floats all boats or raises all whatever.
Right.
It was the Brady effect. That was the first kind of domino. And, the Lightning won. And Tampa is really the Lightning town. I mean, it is a loyal, there are people I work with who know nothing about any other sport, but they went to high school in Oldsmar or Largo. And when the Lightning moved here, they were like, you know what? I'm picking them. They're my team. I don't know anything about hockey, but I'm going to look up all the rules, go to all the games. Yeah. And they're loyalists. And like the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl, like elevated them to like the same level almost as the Lightning. Now the Rays, if I may continue to blabber, is a totally different situation.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Yeah, let's talk about them Rays, shall we?
you guys know and love the movie Major League, right?
Of course.
Sure.
Okay. I mean, it's almost a literal Rachel Phelps situation with the lease with the city, and they're trying to, page 3, paragraph 2, line 4. If the attendance drops below, I think it's really going to the World Series from the fans' perspective, from the players was great, from media was great, but the owners, I think at this point are looking for a reason to have the city of St. Petersburg and the Tampa Bay area have no rebuttal when it comes to, all right, we're moving the team, we're going to split the season in Montreal, is what they want to do, and openly saying these things. And
see, and that's he finally did it. I didn't want to bring it up. He finally did. St. Petersburg, for people who don't want to admit they live in Tampa, they will live in St. Petersburg because that's classier than Tampa.
Well, there is a city called St. Petersburg.
No, I've been there. I mean, it's one of the worst stadiums I've ever been at. It's horrible. It's a Costco that they play baseball in. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's a horrible place.
But I don't understand. I mean, like, if you live in Tampa, you got to tell people you live in Tampa. You don't lie.
It's like in L.A. You remember in Swingers when he got the number and he's like, ooh, 818, which is the Valley? No, 310. Ooh, it's L.A. Same thing, man. Ooh, St. Pete? No, Tampa. Oh, I'm sorry. It's
does it feel like that to you down there?
St. Pete has the people when I first moved here. St. Pete has become they've kind of outside of the Rays debacle. They've done a lot to like remake the downtown and kind of like recharge things, and they built just condos. That's what you do. I mean, it's like when I came back a couple years ago for my high school reunion, I went on 9th Street, and I'm like, I don't recognize this place at all.
Sure.
Columbia. It's like, what? South of Broadway. I'm like, just throw up some condos.
Right.
Some young money will move in. But they've done a lot to make St. Pete Pier was just redone, and that reopened last year, and it was a big thing. So yes, there's 15, 20 years ago saying you lived in St. Petersburg. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Now it's like, live in St. Pete. Grab yourself a Maduro and come to my deck.
There's
Pete's.
hints of coffee and dark semi-sweet chocolate.
So it's fine. I mean, we go down there for the Grand Prix was last week. It's cool, right on the water. There's a lot of places to do stuff and water sports, fishing. Just take a walk along the water. So
what's your personal time in Tampa? You got a significant other? Do you go fishing? Do you go swimming? Do you just lay out on the beach and be like, bring me a Maduro and let's relax?
Yeah, significant other. The hunt, the search is on. Because it's hard to, with my hours, with what we were like allowed to do and what we were supposed to, like if I had pop positive, thankfully for COVID that I didn't, like what the things we were supposed to do with regard to covering things and who we were supposed to tell, with going out to places.
Are you saying that you had problems dating because of rules at the television station?
No, not the television station. Just the rules. Things weren't open. I mean, you couldn't go anywhere.
Okay, all right. I want to make sure I understand this.
The global rules that you're supposed to be following.
I need to look up that book. All right, go ahead.
The Hammer of God. Wherever that is. And I think, too, there is, not by any means am I a celebrity or famous or anything at all. I mean, if, everyone's got a camera phone, everyone's got a thing where, hey, somebody's at a bar when they're not really supposed to be, and then somebody from the Buccaneers gets wind that people are, it's not a good look. Even though none of that happened, but it's like you don't want to be the first one.
Being in the media, there is a level of responsibility of this could turn out as a bad PR thing. It can.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it responsibility as much as I have to make it look good. Well, it is.
I don't know about that. I think
it's a fine line. Yeah,
for a guy that does a morning radio show.
Why do I feel like I'm being brought into this?
Different than a guy who's on television news as a sports guy. I just think there's a little
because I'm full of crap and I tell people to F off. I don't know why that's different.
It's kind of the same thing, but for in Kevin's world, I think that he's trying to
think it
responsible journalist versus morning guy who just tells the truth.
I'm not irresponsible. Why is my voice going up? I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
I don't have no idea.
No, but I get that. Okay, so you're at a bar and you're hanging out and you're getting your groove on and you're talking to somebody you met on, was it Swindle? What's the Tinder?
Tinder.
I don't know.
I'm not an app guy either, so that might be part of my problem.
You're not missing out. I think you're doing fine.
I do this really weird, like revolutionary thing of I talk to people sometimes.
No.
Which is weird. I know it's weird. It's weird.
You walk up in person and talk to somebody and they're like, get away, get away, get away.
Yeah, off you go.
Now, so if you
how do
meet somebody and you go to
we'll
a
get back
bar,
to this. What?
if you meet somebody and you go to a bar and you're hanging out and somebody goes, man, that's Kevin Lewis. I was listening to him last night on the news with the sports and stuff. They start videotaping. That gets out on social media. And then one of the sports teams sees it, and you're supposed to be interviewing them that evening. I guess that could be a problem.
Yeah, and I mean it's too. I mean everything, and I think through the next football season, especially in the NFL, I think through the next, maybe through next spring, will be all Zoom stuff. I mean, it's mostly Zoom, but we, for the NFL, we could go to practice. You just have to get a credential and go like the day before. They were testing COVID testing us in July for preseason stuff. You had to get a negative test on site at the team was doing it. And nobody, tested positive, no media. It was weird because the first time they did it, we're like, oh, when do we get the results? And they said, oh, probably like one of the media relations guys said, I got mine yesterday around like 10 o'clock at night. And no one got an email or no one got a result. And we kind of came back the next day. I'm like, I'm assuming that's fine. And they said, yeah, like if you had, because we were just in the same trailer, like players and coaches cut the line and went in. Did it, like if somebody had tested positive, they would have had to like stop everything. They said you would have got a call and the red would have gone off. And,
no news is good news, basically.
Right, absolutely.
So so everything that was fine. But there was a limited in-person stuff. But I mean, the closest we got to a player shooting practice was probably 50 feet. I mean, it wasn't like.
Well, then what do they care what you're doing? Dude, I want you to get laid. I don't want you to see you not being able to.
I know. Hey,
right?
you and me both, man. You and me, yeah.
What are you looking at me like that for, Dad? He wants to get some too.
I totally understand that.
Tom Brady's like, dude, I've got it going on. You should have it going on. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. I mean, he's got his situation locked. He's got it locked down. He's buying a $2 million boat. Bought a place in Clearwater. Like he's got him.
What does a $2 million boat look like? I mean, have they showed any pictures of this thing?
I can text you a picture. He was piloting it during the parade, the boat parade.
Oh, it was that boat?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a million.
Let's toss the trophy boat.
Wait a second. It was the trophy tossing boat?
Yeah, he threw it off the back of his boat. It's like a cobalt blue kind of thing. Yeah. And it's, and he was, stumbling at the end. He didn't. Okay. The parade ended with at the port of of Tampa, and they after that, the public weren't allowed in. You couldn't pull boats up to that. It was media, friends and family, players, coaches, staff. So it was probably 500 people. But everyone had masks on. And Ndamukong Suh, his wife. Was pregnant. They since had children. Like they were apart. Like they stood apart from everybody. Like they tried to make.
Yeah, because he's always followed the rules. That's the guy that I'm looking for in the pandemic.
The strangest thing, he and Blaine Gabbert being on the same team. I remember when he almost broke Blaine Gabbert's leg off at a Thursday night. I believe it was Nebraska-Mizzou game. In a pouring rainstorm.
No, that was the night that the transformer blew up across the street. It was the first year for the new scoreboard. And the transformer blew up, and the press box had power. All the lights went out in the stadium. I was there. I was in the press box.
Damn.
Was it raining, or am I making that up?
Pissing rain.
Okay, but So and I was like, oh my god, now they're on the same team. So this parade, this thing at the end devolves into like the worst spring break videos you've ever seen. It's just Bruce Aaron. Everyone's just like F-bomb this, F that, and all the stations are carrying this live. And I think we were the first ones to drop it, but our bosses are just like, can you just not swear every word, every word?
Oh, my God.
And as the Tampa sports guy, isn't it your duty to be on that boat?
I was on a media boat. I was on a boat following
media
Tom's.
Boat. That only happens in Tampa. That doesn't happen in Wisconsin. The media boat.
We wait. I love getting that email for the Lightning parade. They're like, media boat. And I'm like,
boat?
Yeah.
We're just going through. And
did you pull a Caddyshack and you showed up in like a nice jacket and the sailor? Did you pull one of the
polo shirt, shorts? I was ready to go. I mean, I was ready to.
Ahoy, Malloy! Get on the media boat.
I can't drink with hockey players. Probably some of the football players. Maybe like a punter or specialist. I could probably hang with. Or Tom. I call him Tom because
I love it.
His boat was an eye shot of ours, but you couldn't. He never had a drink in his hand when he was outside of the cab, and he wasn't drinking and piloting. So I don't know where he snuck these 3 avocado tequila drinks in beers, but he was drinking at some point, and he never drinks, during the season. So 3 drinks for that guy in an hour and a half is like.
Which, by the way, this is the problem with your dating. You're going to have to find a way to be able to date behind the cloak so no one can see you, because this guy's not going to drink out in public. People are going to take pictures of him while he's drinking a beer or an avocado margarita or whatever the hell it is. So he goes down below, he pounds it, and he comes back up, and he's like, hey, guys, it's just me, natural good man Tom Brady hanging out.
Yeah. He was waving, and it was a whole, Miss America with the president.
But when you're standing on the back of a boat in that little launch area, and there's a little bit of a wake, you don't have the greatest balance. I think it was the boat.
Was he under power at the time? Was he under sail?
System quarterback. Clearly, it's the boat. System quarterback.
Well,
what I'm saying.
Were they under power? Were they under sail at that time? Was the engine rolling?
It was the engine. Yeah, there was no sail.
And he was on, but he was on the back of it while they were moving.
I mean, I think they were stopped. I think they had put it in.
Yeah, when he threw the
put it
trophy,
in park is the car analogy.
He was standing
but they
on
they
back.
weren't moving forward. It wasn't like they were.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on.
The rule
I'm
is
trying to help him out, man.
you got to put that baby into neutral, and then at that point you shut off the engine. No one should be on that back end with the engine rolling. It should not have.
There wasn't a wake or anything. Yeah.
And honestly,
and his daughter's yelling, no.
And when you throw the Roselle dude, he's a great quarterback, but that thing coming in at you, pewter in the whole.
Who caught that?
Gronk.
Who was the one who caught it?
Gronk.
There was much discussion. Cameron Brate, tight end, is now credited with the catch. A lot of social media.
I thought it was Gronk.
What's that?
I thought it was Gronk that caught it.
He was on a different boat. That was the first tweet. Was he threw it to Gronk because they just saw a huge tight end looking guy go up, and there were 2 other receivers. Like, was it Scotty Miller, who is like 5'7", 175, soaking wet? There were a lot of hands in there. I think Cameron Brate is the consensus of the hands that came away from
they were
the fray.
at least receivers that he threw it to, correct?
Yes.
All right.
So,
Thank God.
and it was not that far. It was a car length toss. It wasn't, Tom Brady threw the trophy. Like,
yeah. But there's water between them that's 48 feet deep. So, I mean, at some point, there's going to be an issue.
Yeah, but you missed it. What you didn't see is he faked off the media boat. He kind of faked off the media boat, and then he turned, and then he went to their boat.
And great. Kevin was like, ah!
I mean, whoa! I mean, hey, if I was close enough,
give me that thing.
I want to be a YouTube celebrity pretty bad, or get on the.
Oh,
TikTok
we can fix it. We can fix that. This show goes up on YouTube.
Is there? Well, we're talking about the NFL and the Super Bowl happening in Tampa Bay. Is there anything in your mind when you took the job in Tampa Bay? You're like, the next Super Bowl is here. That's gonna be pretty cool because I'll get credentials. Was that in your mind at all?
It was. I mean, that was one of the selling points a little bit, just because, to walk in the door and you cover the Super Bowl, like we would cover it regardless. If it were, the Packers and the Chiefs or the Bears and the Chiefs, or somebody, we'd cover it just in a different way. And, midway through the season, if the Buccaneers, because, you guys are familiar with meetings and the bosses want to have meetings to schedule another meeting about a meeting, to plan a meeting. So, I kept saying, hey, if the Buccaneers make it, we got to scrap all these other plans because we got to get in touch with former players. We got to get in touch with a super fan guy. We got to do all, the media availability is going to be all, so, and then they made it. I was just like, of course, total 2020 move. They, make it to their own Super Bowl.
Amazing. And,
but
you said
I am beyond fortunate to land where I did.
You said if it was like the Chiefs and the Packers, which we were actually hoping for. And did you start to say if it was the Bears and the Chiefs? Is that what you started to say? Because that sounded kind of weird.
I did. I was raised a Bears fan. I mean, it's like,
okay, I didn't realize that.
I'm not a stupid Bears fan. I know that. I mean, they made the playoffs. That was the worst. I might rant and say that's the worst thing that could have happened to them last year, making the playoffs. Backing in, that's beyond rear backing in. That's butt forward backing in.
Right.
Then the coach gets to stay, the GM gets to stay. You can't fire a guy for making the playoffs. And, of course, they lose, and then now it's going to be another year of garbage. And Andy Dalton is –
But you don't think the worst thing that happened was putting that flying saucer on top? That's the worst thing that's ever happened in Chicago.
When I was in Wisconsin, I covered Packers games at Soldier Field. That is really bad. Unless you're in the first row of the press box, you can't see past, the 30-yard line.
No, it's horrible.
So you're like this. And then when, the play comes down, you have to be like this. There's no And
You're like, who the hell designed this thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they played in what, Champaign at University of Illinois for a season. Play there for 2 seasons, so you get something that's not a total turd, like sitting on, a stadium that otherwise is really, it's old, but it's a night, it's downtown, it's in a good location, whatever it is. Yeah. So I'm not waiting for the Bears anytime soon.
So you talked about being a Bears fan. I mean, you are fans of different teams out there, and you go to Tampa not because you're fans of their teams there, and you've moved around Arizona, Wisconsin. You're going to move again. You're probably several times, right?
I might. I mean, if they want to keep me around, that's cool. It's just weird to work at a place, and I was in our station for 2 weeks, and then I think it was March 19th or something. We got the email saying, "All right, everybody, got to set up a thing at home. We're working from home." I've been inside the building twice since March 21st, 2020.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
Twice
inside the
in the
station.
last year.
I had to download some file video for last year's NFL draft. It took me like 10 minutes. And then when the Rays won the pennant that night, I got permission from management to go in our like auxiliary studio and do the show from there and then leave. But yeah, I have not been inside.
Wow.
So when we asked you, hey man, we're going to send you a link and connect on your computer, you're just like, yeah, that's Thursday. That's a normal day for me.
Yeah.
That's a normal day. Yeah. And I worked from home ever since, or live. I mean, thank goodness, like I've interacted with like some photographers, a couple of news reporters. The Super Bowl, we had a big setup. So I've interacted with coworkers, but most of it has been like a Zoom, the Zoom call at 9 a.m. or at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Is this your normal? This isn't your normal like 3:45 Sportcast spot. I'm guessing.
This is I do this on the weekends. I change it up a little bit. Sometimes I put a video. I'll put some video, like edit some video down, like for a tease or whatever. So right. I set up something generic. So hey, if I have to quick do something, there's some just crapola hanging up because
what time?
I don't make that main anchor money where they set up studios for people, like bring in these monitors.
Right. So what is your day? The hours like? What hours do you work?
We can, again, it's myself and Kyle Berger is the other guy who started right when I did. So great timing. Yeah. It's almost 8 out of 10 days, like up to us. I mean, it's, if I, the day before I say, hey, I have a story set up with a high school football team, flag football team or something, and I can shoot the story in the morning, and have it ready for the next day. And there's like, yeah, we just want, whatever you guys want to do in terms of gathering the content and making the story, we'll put it in the shows. So it could be a team practicing at 6 p.m. It could be a team practicing at 9 a.m. Just as long, and Kyle and I, we coordinate who on off days, who's doing what. So every day there's at least something from one of us story-wise. So it's pretty open-ended. It's a different deal for sure than my first. I'm going to be, November will be my 20-year anniversary of
Isn't
television.
That insane?
Are you serious?
20 years.
There's no way. Are you serious? So wait a second. So are you going out by yourself and shooting the video at these events?
Most of the time, yes. There's a new phenomenon now. Not new. That's the wrong.
No, it's not new at all.
No, it's like past maybe 7, 8 years, almost 10. MMJ is what they call it, multimedia journalist, which just means one-man band. That's what it was called before, multimedia journalist, where they want to hire people who can go. Like I went to the Valspar Championship yesterday and shot a story there. And yeah, you shoot, edit, write, and they want to basically hire fewer photographers to save money. So they want reporters to be able to do everything and turn it, which honestly, it hurts the quality of it a lot because a professional photographer is way better than I am at setting up a camera shot and editing because that's like all they do. I talked to a manager from Cigar City. We were just, BSing. And I said, you have a head chef in your restaurant, but it's like if you say, oh, you can bartend too, right? Like you don't have to bartend. You could probably run the front of the house a little bit too. You're a nice guy. And getting them to do all those things when, like, why isn't the chef just chef? You know what I mean?
So something's got to give. And so you see where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are also. They see where they've got to save dollars. But there is a reality to the simplicity of using these technologies today. I mean, we're broadcasting right now with this podcast.
Yeah, we don't have a technical producer.
No,
It's
none
me.
at all. So we go in here and
I
do
am
this
the
thing.
technical producer.
Yeah, you're doing a hell of a job.
But see,
by
it's
the
the
way.
same in
Let's
my.
give him a round of
Thank you,
applause.
thank
Do
you.
we have
That's-
them?
Thank you.
Associate producer, executive producer,
Yeah.
All of it. But see, it's
director,
the
I
same
would say,
thing
even
on
your
my
punch of the
broadcast
show.
side. So more and more, not for football, but for basketball, it's not uncommon for the play-by-play voice of our networks to also be the guy running the gear. And a lot of it has to do with logistics. There's not enough places to sit because they're cramming too many people courtside. But I'm looking for people now that have those skills. In the past, you're only looking for people that had great talent.
You want them to be able to run a board like I have in
I
front
need
of
them
me.
to run, I need them to run the board. I need them to be able to do a podcast. I need them to be able to
Damn.
do some social media. It's a totally different game now.
So
when
you
I'm
see
hiring talent.
kids coming into the business, Kevin, and you're like, let me tell you something. Back in the day, we had
Well,
a
I have a
producer.
I tried to work that, but I don't have any hair. It's not gray. It's just because I don't have any.
What do you think we wear hats, dude? Well,
Yeah.
not you, but me.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. This is
They're
like
fine.
30 years in the broadcast business. That's why you
It
have to wear a
happens.
hat.
It happens.
So
Yeah,
where
but
do
the
you
business,
where do you ultimately want to be? Like, give me your. It's funny. There's been a trend of sports guys, especially, who really good sports guys that end up on Good Morning America, the Today Show. They end up as these general correspondents. Where do you ultimately want to be? Because everybody's got an ultimate goal. I want to own a taco truck, but it's never going to happen because I can't pay my bills doing it. I'm just saying.
I'd be
where
front
do
and center. Yeah.
there you go. El Wino Taco. We pair your tacos with the winery in Napa Valley, and that's what we do 5 days a week.
That's great. I
El
love it.
Wino Taco.
I love it.
Man, one of these days. There you go. See? Investor.
Yeah.
no,
Investor. So anyway, ultimately, you got your dream job. What is it?
That is a question that my late great professor, Dr. Gregory Porter, asked me in the spring of 1999, 2000. Oh, sorry, way back machine.
Wow.
And I could never ever give a straight answer because I don't have a straight answer. Because any business like broad TV, radio, whatever is so nomadic, and I've gotten opportunities based on because it's who you know. Just knowing somebody who, the guy who got me the interview for this job, Ryan Smith, interned at KMIZ before I left there. He was there for like a semester, and he moved on, and he's doing great. And I just when I got the call back, I Googled the station, and I'm like, oh my God, Ryan Smith, and I emailed him like, oh, he's like, oh yeah, it's like you and Bo Bateman took me out for my 21st birthday to the Turtle, and we got hydrated, and
Wow. Good
just
times.
so, and it used to be, when I was in high school or junior high, like, oh man, you want to go to ESPN and you want to do all this stuff, and that was like the ivory tower, and I guess maybe at one point that was the thing, but I just never have like gone all in on, in 10 years I'm gonna be this, because I went to school with a lot of people who were like, oh, I'm just gonna like get a job at a college and then I'm gonna go to Chicago and be a news anchor, and they're doing like PR now, which is fine. Like I just didn't want to be like set myself up to be like, oh God, now what? Like if I'm standing in the batter's box, they're not all just fastballs coming in. Like there's going to be a breaking ball, probably. Well, for me, they could be all fastballs, but for somebody who can hit, it's there'll be a breaking ball or two. So I like what I'm doing. I mean, I'm going to look, and it'll be the old see what's out there and see, but I like what I do. Like I don't have my bags constantly packed, ready to move. But I'm just, I want to, if opportunity maybe knocks, I'll take it. But I'm not, I thought I'd live in Madison, Wisconsin for 2-3 years and go somewhere else, Milwaukee or Chicago or something. I was there for 8 years. And I loved it.
Wow,
So
that's a long time there. And so when you look at the opportunity to move around, if it comes up again this year with this whole COVID thing, has it stunted what you're doing?
Thankfully, not as much as we thought. I mean, at the very beginning, the NCAA tournament was going to be in Tampa too the first weekend. They had the Valspar Championship. I mean, all that stuff got canceled in 2 days. It was like, oh, we're just not going to have any fans. And it was like, no, you're not going to have it at all. And then, there are a few weeks where it's just like, what, are we going to do? And there was enough going on with those teams, and they knew too. Like, I mean, in a sense, it was easier for the Lightning or the Buccaneers because you can get a coach or a player just, hey, here's the Zoom link. Can you do something real quick on Tuesday from your phone for 15 minutes? So, you know what I mean? It's not, they didn't have to come in. They didn't have to go to the team facility or get checked. They could do it from their living room. and do an interview that way. So it really hasn't like knocked the legs out. It's different, and yeah, it's a little harder to, you know, when you couldn't go places physically. But I don't think, thankfully, it hasn't. You know, and unfortunately for a lot of small businesses and a lot of industries just got hammered, which I'm like thankful that I worked in one that, you know, can keep going. You know, comparatively, I feel really lucky that, you know, we got enough support from the outside, and that the interest in sports is still a thing.
What did you call the journalism you're doing now? What did you call that?
The position, you're called a multimedia MMJ.
MMJ, multimedia journalism. Don't you think that is the absolute future? And so you said you've been doing it for a few years now. That's going to be the future. They're going to expect you to go out there, get some B-roll on this thing, interview some players, and then do the full story, wrap it up, and turn it in. And you did the whole thing yourself. Isn't that the future?
That is the future. That's a lot of the present. I work for a company now, our station, and part of the reason I took the job, too, is that our news director said, you know, we're going to have you shoot your own stuff 95 out of 100 times, but like tomorrow we're doing a live NFL draft special, and we're going to have photographers setting the live shot, cameras up, and that equipment. And they said, you're never going to shoot your own live shot. Like, you're never going to, like, just for safety, for how it looks, like, you're always going to have a photographer for those. For, you know, we went to the World Series, Kyle and I, we could shoot our own stuff. So, like, when it matters, you know, they're like, we're going to help you out and get you somebody to go, just to have an extra set of hands, a photographer who knows, you know, how to grind it out. But yeah, for the MMJ thing, and the business of TV, I can only speak for now, is becoming so young. When I was in school, I mean, if you got a job, like television markets, you know, like 1 to, I think there are 212-ish television markets. If your first job out of college was in Madison, Wisconsin, which is market like 80, that was a big deal. I mean, that was like, whoa.
Right.
Usually it was go to Columbia, Missouri, where I went after college. And like, you know, you learn, you know, you have some people who've been there for a few years, some kind of in their second stop to teach you how to, you know, just how to get the fundamentals down. But now it's, you know, if you're in college and you don't get a job in a top 60 market, you're like, whoa, like what's wrong? And then, you know, I'm going to go there for a couple of years. And then, I mean, you have mid-20s people popping up in Tampa, popping up in large markets. And now there's 50 FSNs and ESPNs and whatever else and digital, you know, blanksportsline.com. And so it's just, I mean, it's.
Well, the multimedia journalist thing is what they grew up on. They already know this. You don't even have to call them MMJs. They already know how to YouTube. They already know how to put video out live on Twitter. They've grown up in a digital age where they're better before they go to school.
Yeah, they got that, but do they have the ability to speak?
No. And there's a difference. And so there's a difference between we talked about this with podcasts, right? There are podcasters and there are broadcasters that do podcasts.
Right.
Anybody can do a podcast. Anybody can, you know, I knit, you know, booties for kittens.
That thing had 3 listeners last week.
You were one of them.
You know.
You were one of them.
Yes, I was.
And then there are broadcasters who do this, right?
Yeah.
We're both broadcasters. This is a very loose format for us, you know, but we're used to the traditional. But there are plenty of these kids coming up who already have a great baseline. And, you know, in my world, I worry about that kind of stuff. I need those people, but I also worry about getting those people because I'm like, they already know 10 things I don't know because I've been doing this for almost 30 years.
There's something sweet about the age you got going, Kevin, because you do understand a lot of that. You're young enough to understand that, but you've got experience that they don't have. And so, and you got markets behind you, you know, in Arizona and Wisconsin and now in Tampa Bay. I mean, you've got it. I think you're over the wave, over the hump, you know, and you should carry this on and have some great career advantage over a lot of people coming out today. Absolutely.
No, I hope so. I mean, yeah, I got in the right, like you said, right in the time of, okay, digital is going to be a really big deal. And, you know, you're going to put stuff on your Facebook and, you know, it's just which station values what, you know, I mean, my last station, you know, the website, the digital thing, you know, after 3 o'clock on a weekend, there was nobody running the website. There was nobody running at the station. Where now it's like there's a department, you know, where it's a digital coordinator. We're launching a digital news service. I think it's just as long as you're willing to pay people to do it right instead of paying one person to do 3 or 4 things pretty well, I think, and I'm not. It's easy to write checks when the money's not coming out of my account, but I don't think I'm alone on that one.
Yeah.
But it's just.
Did you know I have a budget meeting tomorrow? As a matter of fact, and I have to.
Well, and I don't think that mediocrity should never be the goal, right? As you're putting these things together, it should be. Actually, what will be great is that an individual can be fleet of foot and be able to achieve more great things on their own. Yeah, the video wasn't tremendous quality, but we got it.
Well,
And we were able to piece this together and get the information and quality information to the public. Because trying to move 3 people in a van across town, can be a pain in the ass.
I don't
right?
think people care as much about how it was shot. They just want to see it.
Yeah, because we've accepted now on all major media around the world having somebody's cell phone giving us the update on video.
All you need is this now to be the reporter. All you need is a phone and internet access.
And the difference now is, and this happens for writers, it happens for guys like Kevin, it happens for guys that work for me, is that in the old school 10, 15 years ago, you came in and if you were doing a radio broadcast, that's what you did. You sat down, you did the radio broadcast, you signed off, you went away.
Right.
Now you're going to do the radio broadcast. There's going to be a camera in your face because we're doing courtside cams and booth cams. By the way, Jeff Haxton from Texas Tech, who's gotten almost 2 million views for The Catch, that's my guy. Okay. And the only reason that even happens and anybody sees it is because we have a camera in the booth shooting him, calling play-by-play, for God's sakes. You don't see the action. You see Jeff calling play-by-play.
But people will watch it.
And this one time, thank God, he caught a foul ball, and it was amazing. But it's so different. For writers who used to have column inches, right, it was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get – hey, I need an extra couple of column inches to get my story in today, editor. Okay, we'll see if we can move some stuff around. Then we got to the digital age where the editor then said, I need all 4 of those stories because we have unlimited column inches because we're digital now.
Right.
So the game has completely changed. So for Kevin, there's what goes on terrestrial over the air, but there's also stuff that's showing up on your website and additional footage. So there's probably more stuff that you're doing now than what you would ever do just terrestrially.
Yeah, we and to plug the we're one of, I think there are only 2 stations in the country that you can download the app on Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Like our station has the streaming that service. And so okay, I think they can. Again, it comes down to is you'll discuss in your budget meeting tomorrow, making revenue. But I mean that's the future. I still think, and this is the pushback in me of just being an old sports wash-up guy. To get scores and to get the basic thing. You get to my ESPN. The Cardinals Cubs win. What was the score? But I still think, just speaking from a sports perspective, there's an appetite for television, just to say, everything, people just get their phone. Like, I've never had somebody be like, oh, do you want to see, if I threw up highlights tonight on the air of the Lightning Game 6 Stanley Cup winning, I don't think anyone would walk out of the room and say, oh, no, I'm just going to watch it on my phone. Like, when you go to a sports bar and they're, like, taking the TVs off the wall, I think that's, I think it's, there's an appetite for it on television, but where's the line of, you can get that stuff on your phone, but, I can get my, TV stations spend millions of dollars on weather equipment. I got my Weather Channel app. If I can get I want to know what the weather's going to be tomorrow, when it's going to be like this weekend. You know what I mean? So, when is it? I just want to, when is that going to be, like, when's Judgment Day for that?
It's very interesting because when you say when the sports bars start taking the TVs off the wall, I'm like, they'll never, oh, crap, someday that might happen.
Well, let's be honest.
What's a sports bar without 50 screens?
But you walk into a sports bar anymore, and you look around at the tables, and you don't see people looking up. You see this.
They're looking at their phones.
Everyone's on their phone.
That's
all checking another game or checking their Bovada account. Or
they're going down to check their Kevin Lewis sportscast and what they're trying to do. They're trying to get to that.
Yeah.
Tell us before we finish up. Tell us about your life in Tampa Bay. Are you having fun? Do you go to church? Tell me about your favorite restaurant. What the hell is it like to live in Tampa, St. Pete?
It's really good. I had one of my great friends from Wisconsin, fully vaxxed, come down for a visit.
Don't you like that you have to put that out there?
Yeah, fully vaxxed.
My fully vaxxed friend.
Just to let you know.
That's right. Okay.
No, yeah, and I'm full disclosure, fully vaxxed. So I don't want to tell people how they live their lives. I'm just saying, That's what happened for me. It's good. Went to beach about an hour south. Bean Point is the name of it. I go to Bradenton and hang a right. Beaches are cool. A couple times I go for a run every day along a couple beaches near where I live. Favorite restaurant is actually a place I would get. Got some takeaway, like I'm British.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a Tampa phrase? Takeaway.
Do you put your leftovers in aluminum containers?
Sorry, I just had a wire glitch. Restaurant that's owned by I grew up a Cubs fan too. Sorry, Joe Madden and a guy who I met randomly while shooting a story in the parking lot of his restaurant, called 717 South, and he was like, and he is a big Lightning fan. He and John Cooper, Lightning coach, are best friend, or not best friends, are really good friends. And we just kind of shot the breeze for a minute about what I was doing and, TV. I said, I'm new. He's like, if you ever need any, and which a lot of people say, if you ever need anything, I think this guy could actually provide me with like inside information if I dug hard enough. But
like one of these guys, moved from New York to Tampa kind of guys.
No, I mean just.
All right, just checking.
No. Above board. Just the hockey, man.
You got somebody needs to be taken out of the
game. I know a guy that knows a guy.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy who went to place and but no, it's cool. I mean, things are opening up, a little bit. People are, guidelines. Listen, they suck. No one wants to not live how they want to live and not do anything and be in a jar. Like, I don't think anyone's fighting. It's a very small percentage, just like there's a very small percentage on the other side of logic and whatever. So
right.
Things are opening up. People are, doing it. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not usually an optimist, but I think there is now. The weather's good. My parents want to come. They're vaxxed. They're retired. They're like, all right, I'm coming fishing. We're coming down in June. We're doing this. So I'm like, come on down. We'll do that. Because you live in Florida,
awesome.
All your friends want to visit you, and so you can't fly anywhere. And then, when it becomes winter, this winter, I'm sure it'll be like, boo, 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 like, boo, what are you doing? So life's good for now.
Well, we know where we're staying in Tampa.
I know exactly what I'm saying.
We're good. We're in.
When you went to get the takeaway, by the way, what did you order? What did you take home?
Once I got there was it's like chicken. It's not biscuits and gravy. It comes on a biscuit. It's like chicken with like their house gravy, kind of made into a sandwich with home fries, like homemade home fries.
Really sounds
and then they
good.
have just a Sunday.
Sounds really good.
Eggs Benedict.
We got to get rolling, man. We got to get rolling. This has been an incredible conversation. And the beer was good, too. Thanks for picking it out. Maduro, the brown ale from Cigar City Brewing.
This has been a podcast story. Tom's World Beer Tour. For future episodes, download and subscribe where you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeart, and Amazon Music. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Or send us an email at tomsworldbeertour@gmail.com. All content property of Tom's World Beer Tour, copyright 2021. No beer was harmed during this production. Only consumed.